Today, we're joined by someone who is reshaping how organizations start ERP projects, long before configuration even begins. Bret Robinson is a data migration expert, ERP delivery leader, and founder of the ERP Bootcamp, a program built on one simple truth. The fastest way to de-risk an ERP implementation is to train your people before you configure a single field. Bret has spent his career inside some of the most complex ERP environments, leading data migration teams, fixing broken programs, and helping organizations prepare for go live with clarity instead of chaos. What sets Bret apart is that he doesn't just focus on tools or methodology, he focuses on people. In his bootcamp, he prepares teams to speak the same language, understand phase zero, make stronger decisions, and avoid the people-related pitfalls that derail most ERP projects. And now he's leading the next evolution of building AI expert teams, professionals augmented by AI to accelerate analysis, readiness, and delivery without replacing the human judgment. So if you're an executive, a program manager, a consultant, or someone entering the ERP world, this conversation is going to change how you think about preparation, training, and what ready actually looks like. Bret, welcome to the ERP Perspective. Excited to dive into this with you. Good afternoon, Bret. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Thanks, George.
Good. It's glad to have you on the ERP Perspective. I know we were talking for some time on LinkedIn, and we've had a few video calls around the great things that you're doing with AI and ERP. But yeah, I really wanted to have you on the show to talk about your experience in enterprise resource planning, what you're seeing in the market at the moment, and the exciting new topics that you're building on. But yeah, feel free to give the audience a background of Bret Robinson, and how's it brought you up to today?
Sure. Yeah, great. Thanks, George. And yeah, thanks for having me on. Basically, I started out as test manager in ERP about 28 years ago and slowly realized, well, very quickly, actually, you need data. I wasn't getting the data, had to get the data. None of the development teams had the right data. The SIT team didn't have the right data. And this is what classically goes wrong in all ERPs. You don't have the right data. Everything's now tainted and flawed. And it just keeps pushing forward, even though you still haven't got the right data. So I moved into data migrations because, I was trying to get clients to do kind of a phase zero. I know, my good friend, Alistair Bach, and you had him on last time, is really a big fan of phase zero. I'm a fan of phase zero as well. But also I think Alistair and I both believe that that's not to take an eternity. That's not to take, 3-6 months. That's to be very short, very quick. And it's just literally an assessment, a plan, see where you are, what education you and your business team are going to need, and how that's going to have to progress. And of course, a big chunk of that is really kind of looking at the data. Now, I started out where I got a tool I use. I can profile data very, very quickly. And, there's no need to mess about, right? And I can get that standard cleanse, remove blanks and all that sort of stuff very quick. And then one of the things that always stuck with me, though, the whole sort of progress of 28 years is the fact that the business always seemed to be left behind. The business have to do requirements. They have to do test scripts. They have to do config meetings with the functional consultants. They have to do the training. They have to do the reports. They have to get involved in so many things and support the BAU team on their day job while they're doing this SME gig. What gets missed is the fact that their time is just really, really squeezed. And you might just need something very, very simple. Got these 7 different purchase orders on the new system. Are you having 7 or are you just going to do 4? Yeah. And that takes a week sometimes to get an answer because they say, oh, show me some query reports. So you run some SQL, say, here you go. What do you think? Not really sure. That's not what I see on the screen. You're going to have to set up a meeting and take me through it. Okay. Now we're into 10 days. It's like, I know the answer roughly, right? And I'm like, why don't I just give you something? And some of the times I do that. I said, look, why don't I just give you what I think? And then let's see what it looks like in the new system, which we're not going to have access to for another 3 months. It's like, okay, how are we going to do this, right? And then it basically boils down to a quick SQL query, lots of inner joins, and we give them the data and we walk them through it, say this is what it will look like. But if you can just imagine a Oracle or an SAP screen here with all these fields populated, does that look right? And still it's not right. And this is part of the problem. It's the data. It's not getting the system. And said to Alistair, I said, look, in phase 0, can I just show him an SAP system and we get some people to say, what does a purchase order look like? Yeah, sure. ME21N. Here you go. Okay, cool. Well, I don't like that. Where's that field? Where's that? Okay, cool. Note that down. That's something you might want to take, further forward. That's fine. But it's better to know it now, because if you get the system 6 months before go live and then you said, I don't like that, where's that field? It's like 6 months. Okay, you got to raise a CR. You got to wait a week. Everybody sees it, reads it, adds to it, says, yeah, we could probably do it. And, and then it's like, yeah, well, we need this because if we can't go live. I was like, oh, great. And then 1 month before go live, now all of a sudden everything becomes a workaround. Well, we can't get a CR because there's not going to be enough time. I have to have a workaround, and here's the workaround. Before you know it, and this is the stuff that data causes. Right? People need to profile their data at the beginning. It takes about 5 days and to profile the whole database. Get database profile. So this is where we're missing bits. You're going to this platform. Okay, I've married up all the new fields that you're missing. It's not here. Profiles for business partners. It's now called business partners. It's not customers, vendors. It's now business partners. There's 3 categories, but then there's a profile. There's about 12 different profiles for each category. How do you, it's an employee, it's that category, and the profile is they are a third party or whatever the profiles are. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there'll be a profile in there that will fit each employee and how they serve this business as a separate entity.
Yeah. No, I really feel the passion and the frustration that you're
Frustration.
seeing. Yeah, exactly. For the frustration that you're seeing at the moment, and the ideas that you've had on how this industry can be better and more efficient. Because I know we were talking previously about the ERP Bootcamp that you've been building, and also the importance of, train your project team before the project starts, and sort of why people need to do that. But I mean, I know your sort of summary was that the fastest way to de-risk your ERP is to train your people before you configure a single field. I mean, why do you think that in itself is so important?
Because you're preparing them for what a transformation is. You know the pain, I've got muscle memory on these things, right? I've done nearly 60 of them. I could just literally, Bret, show me the architecture diagram, right? Where's the requirements, right? Where's finance? I want to see some reports. Cool, right? What database we're using? Okay, how old is that data? I just do that, like bang, 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 bang. I know it. But when you drop the business team on who's never done one of these, knees shaking, and they're like, what do we do? Rabbit in the headlights. Okay, cool. So your job is, you've got about 10 jobs. The first one is, as soon as the SI lands, I'm not going to see you. So we need to have this conversation now before the SI arrives, because I won't be able to get your time, because the SI will moan like the stink to the CFO, project sponsor, say, what's data migration doing taking my SMEs? I need them for config, right? It's like, and if we don't get the config, you're not getting a system, and it's going to draw out, and it's going to cost you 10, 15, 20 million more. And the CFO is like, Bret, do not contact the SMEs. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, what are we going to do about data then? Should I just guess and give you my best estimate? So that's the main problem right there. That there is the business. So that's why I said, when I give a pre-training and I get them experienced in where you're going to be pulled, how it's going to work. But then what I do in this training, George, is I get them to build their own AI expert. I said, what if I could show you how to build your own superhero toy in your niche that knows everything about everything you're trying to get to and knows everything about where you've been? What if I do that? What if I give you that ability, and we're going to create our own AI being that's going to know everything? Wouldn't that be brilliant? And then I get them a couple hours. We just do it. I take them through step by step. So it's drawn out. It takes me about 15, 20 minutes, but take them a couple hours to get through everything. And then here's a database full of prompts that are ideal questions that would be asked by an HR, FI, MM, SD, AR, whatever, AP person to these experts, the questions, the types, the format, right? But I make it so niche. If you ask ChatGPT right now, say, show me the steps on how to raise a purchase order, it's going to come back and say, what's a PO? What's a PO? I can give you these definitions. Which one is it? What's a purchase order? Okay, cool. What system? Sage, QuickBooks, where are you? and it's going to start going through drilling down, right? But if you ask my expert, my expert, how to raise a PO? Oh, cool. Yeah. ME21A. Here's the steps. Vendor, right? It's going to take you through it step by step, right?
Yeah.
That's the difference. Mine window is like this. ChatGPT is like that, right? That's the difference. I'm training it on specifics.
No, I would just say it's more condensed, but better quality information that's readily available for the consultants and businesses. You obviously went into the ERP bootcamp, but when a business is approaching you, or you're approaching a business and you're saying, look, this is what the ERP bootcamp is, and the business came to you and said, okay, why should we implement that? Why should we train our people, and before the project starts, why will your ERP bootcamp make a difference for us? I mean, I know you kind of already went on to that, but what would you say to that business?
It's going to educate them and give them assurance that this is not going to be as bad as they think, or as horrific as they think. And a lot of people are probably laughing in the background like around and saying, yeah, sure. Yeah, you tell them, Bret. Yeah, sure. Yeah, we believe that, not. Right. But what I'm trying to do is build your strength. I'm trying to build your foundation as a business team, right? I'm trying to give you the assurance that here's how it's going to work. When they come to FI, they're going to say, right, show me your AP, show me your AR, show me your GL people, right? And you will have to know your business area. And 2, you're going to have to know what processes you're currently doing. And then 3, you're going to have to roughly know, and it's ideal if you could know what shape your data's in. And that's the other thing, part of the boot camp is they might say, oh, bro, our data's rubbish. I can't get a match. And every time I do, finance comes back and moans at me, says you selected the wrong vendor number, wrong code number. It's like, and they have to correct it every month end because we're not, it depends on who's on. If so-and-so temps on, they're doing it wrong. If so-and-so over here's on, they do some right. It's like, me as a manager, all I'm doing is just trying to run around getting everybody organized. Cool. That's not a problem. So we highlighted an issue. We know how to deal with it now. So let's tackle it now and let's get a plan, because when the boots hit the ground from the SI, all they're thinking about is config, blueprint, config. This is all that, because they get paid usually when that plan's produced. Here's a config guide. That's everything you need, business. Right. Pay up. And that's what they're gunning for. They're gunning for that. They want that config guide and that blueprint because that's what they get paid. That's called payment milestones. I'll teach them a bit of Project Speak. Payment milestones. This is the meetings you're going to have, your weekly catch up. Here's a raid log. This is what a raid log looks like. This is how you organize things. This is what it means with that. And taking them through basically everything. Test scripts. Here's what X-Ray or Zephyr looks like. Here's what Jira is like. This is some of the things you're going to have to do. And then, of course, with the AI expert on the second day, we can then get into okay, let's create a SOP. Right, you're going to 2508 SAP. Cool, that's easy. Just let's go into MM and say, right, MM person, ask your SOP this question, right? And then how do I create a SOP for some of my, or outline me what are the 10 top processes that I really need to do a standard operating procedure for? Yes, I would say, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I know MM. This is the things you need to worry about right now. Cool. And then just pick them off the list. So, okay, give me a SOP for that. And it will do it. Do you want a PDF or CSV? Right. And that's how we get there. So we start by educating them what it's all going to be like, how it's going to be structured, what their responsibilities are going to be. And then we start saying, okay, the training as well, they're going to have to feed into. And then we're going to just go through and say, here's how you break it down. Here's how you start tasking everything up. And I'm here to help you do that. I'm here to give you the confidence and the ability to just kind of block most things out and just see what the whole thing is that you're trying to deliver, rather than everyone flying at you saying, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. But Bret told me I had to do that. And then functional consultant says I had to do that. It's like,
yeah, definitely. I think it brings some more structure and clarity and calmness to the start of the project. And I know, linking back to the first topic at the start of any upgrade, implementation, anything like that, you mentioned the phase 0 part. It doesn't need to go on for months. It doesn't need to be this long process, but it does need to be done. But when we are talking about before this training, or maybe the training's obviously linked to that phase zero, but you mentioned previously that phase zero is linked more to the people, or it's about the people, not the ERP system or
Yeah.
the software or the ERP choice. Why do you believe that, and why should we be focusing on the people in that phase zero stage?
Sure. I think for me, it's your time to be honest. Now, I got AI experts that can go out and interview people, and I've got them
Oh,
set
yeah.
up to ask relevant questions in particular business areas. But I think for me, it's your time to be honest and say, what's wrong? Why did it go wrong? What's happening? Because if you don't be honest now, it's no good hiding it, because if you're hiding it, it will rear its head. And everybody talks about it. The ERP is not necessarily transversing to a new platform. What it's doing is it's exposing what you're doing wrong and how bad it is. That's what it's going to expose. And it will do that. And
Yeah.
you will know. And I'm not one for pointing fingers and calling names unless it's an ISI that I don't like. But I'm not into doing that. So I'm more like, let's get on with it. We're here. Let's just deal with it. And I think that's the attitude you need to have. Just be honest, be upfront. If you do, you're going to have a much easier time, and your journey is going to be much more valuable for you. And and I try and get them to include the people that are doing the BAU as much as we can, and even give them access to the AI expert, because then they can start. How do I do a new PO in the new system? Oh, cool. Yeah, this is how you do it. So it's giving them some education as well as feeding back into it, saying, okay, that's wrong. We're going to change that. Okay. We can do that.
I think on that point, that the feedback and communication part's so important. I
Yeah.
had Jacob Ben-Smet on the ERP Perspective last week, and he was saying, the biggest killer of ERP projects, the biggest problem in these ERP projects is
Yeah.
silence. People don't want to raise concerns. They don't want to be the person to bring bad news. He had a great conversation with me about, celebrating, no, not celebrating, but allowing that bad news to be raised,
Yeah.
and to be something that you can discuss without being fearful of maybe what someone would say,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
be
And
confident
that's
in
why I say, yeah, that's why I say get an AI expert in the team. And in the team, only that team will be able to see it. So if you've got questions, if you've got concerns as a team,
Mhm.
I'm in the AI expert. We'll get the funk consult to have maybe if you agree, or the
Mm.
PM or whoever, because you're airing them in a private area that you'll give access to only a certain person to look at those, and they can keep tabs on them, and then they can help support you. Because I think what the business feel is they don't feel that they have anyone they can talk to. Who can I
Yeah.
talk to? The PM's always busy. How can I air this problem? What do I ask? Who do I ask? If I say it to the
Mhm.
SME, they're just going to laugh at me. If I say it to the function consultant, they're going to laugh at me. Or if I say the wrong thing in this big old meeting, people are going to say, "What are you doing on the project? Why are you
Yeah.
so crap?" Right? And that is not the case, right? But if you
Yeah.
literally put it into your AI expert, ask the AI expert, say, "Hey, I got some queries in the AI expert. Can you, the PM, can you come in and have a look and see what the team's putting in there?" And then they go, right, okay, we've left you guys alone too long. Okay, cool. I know it's our fault. Right, let's pick this up and let's correct it. And that's what your other previous guests were talking about, the ship correction. Okay, we know that this is a problem, this is an area. Let's go through it. Because what you don't want is you don't want it arriving 2-3 months before go live. It's like,
Yeah.
why didn't you say? I didn't know who to speak to. I didn't know how to raise it. I'm new. I didn't want to get fired. I don't want AI to replace me. You get
Yeah.
all these things coming. That's not why we're here, right? It's like,
And
yeah.
I,
And that's what we do in the pre as well. We get people,
yeah,
the camaraderie. Say, do you know how important you are to this program?
that empowerment and that communication
Yeah.
needed for these sorts of projects, because you're going to be working on it for the next 2 to 3
Yeah,
years. You need to have
exactly.
that,
No one
community.
knows this job. No one knows
Yeah.
this job but you. So guess what? No one's sacking you. It's like, just have a bit more confidence, have a bit more gumption, just get in there and just, that's the, me, look at me, right? I'm an excitable, passionate person. I can give anybody a bit of gumption for at least 5-10 minutes of being in my presence, just to say, yeah, come on, let's go. Yeah.
People need that. People need that. And I mean, what one last part on that phase zero topic? I mean, it's often rushed, skipped, or treated as a
Oh,
formality. How do you sort of reframe sort of that phase zero as a whole so it becomes like the most valuable part of the program?
yeah, to me, it's a discovery phase on a pre-game season. You know, it's like practice.
Mhm.
It's a practice run. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do, we're going to try and find out what all the bits are that you've got moving, and what bits you want to keep, what bits you don't. We're going to meet with the business team, see what they're made of, see where they are in this journey, and see what they have to add to this. And then we're going to just make sure. You know, everybody says, "Oh no, it's CI, a CFO, CIO, CEO." It's no, 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 no. I need inputs from other people to know what bad state you're in, because they're lying to you. They've lied to you. It's worse than what you think, right? So don't sugarcoat this. Honestly, let's just make it like it's a war zone. Let's treat it like that for the minute. And let's just find out if it's as bad as I'm painting a picture. If I paint it really, really bad and horrible, guess what? At the end of it, I say, oh, no, it's not that bad, actually. You get that. Cool. What's it do? Build your confidence. You think, right, okay, we're ready for this. Let's do it. You know, and if I painted a bad picture, but if I paint it like, oh yeah, no, no, that's not, it's fine. Yeah, don't worry about it. I know the business might not be doing everything right, but yeah, don't come on board. Don't worry. Don't worry. And, and that's the thing I don't want to do in this phase here. I don't want to protect the business. I want to bring the business in. I want to drop them in it and say, right, here it is. This is the war zone. This is what it's going to be like. I want you guys to realize I need everything. Give me every bit of intel you've got of why this system's not working. Oh yeah, so-and-so does it like this and so-and-so does it like that. And that data over there is crap. And we can't do that because this department over here is doing it. Great, cool, give it to me. I want it all. I want to list these out and I want to now say, right, here's the new plan. This is how we need to approach it. And this is what we need to do. So yeah.
I know you mentioned, Brett, obviously a big part of your methodology includes bringing AI experts into
Yeah,
programs. And I know you've already gone over to the different functions and how an ERP program can benefit from using them. But
yeah.
on someone that's maybe a bit skeptical or doesn't know much about AI experts, how would you summarize that in sort of a very basic way to let them know the benefits of using them on a project?
Sure. I mean, this is not automation. I'm not going to say, go and create me 100 test scripts, do the tests and run them and then just give me the results. That's not what this is. What this is you giving where you've been, your backlog, your Jira tickets, your Snow tickets, your old processes, your old SOPs, everything. And then it's feeding it into it and saying, okay, this is where we are, are at the moment. Okay, cool. This is where we want to go. Okay, cool. So we'll put that new stuff in. And then I'll just say, show me the plan. What's that look like? I'm going from this to this. What are some of the things we need to do? What are some of the things we need to worry about? What even, we could go all the way back and say, is this the right ERP for us? Or is there something better? So I got an AI expert that I use that's trained on all of them you type in some bits and pieces of information. It says, we recommend these ERPs that you should be running on based on, the facts of it. Yeah, pretty good, right? But that's what this AI does. It's a brain that will reason, work things out, plan, and strategically maneuver you to where you actually want to go because you've told it. I want to go here. This is my plan. This is my focus. This is how I want to operate. We instruct it. I give it specific instructions, say 8th grade, 5th grade reading level, whatever. Whenever you come to a junction, make sure you ask the question. Make sure you give the business everything in step-by-step format. Just make sure that they can, that they've got all the information and it's in bite-sized chunks and it's, things like that, right? I instruct it to be really just, easy does it. But at the same time, a tech guy can go in there and say, what's the mapping table for MM in this version? Cool. Yeah, here it is. What's the config guide for, purchasing? What's the chart of counts? Can I get the config guide for chart of counts? Yeah, sure. Here it is. Do you want to download it? Yeah, cool. CSV. Right. So everyone can dip in, but predominantly it's there for the business to get them to understand that I need a standard operating procedure. I never used this software before. How do I do that? Cool. Let's go in. Just ask it. Create me a standard operating procedure. You're 2508 HANA. Create me a standard operating procedure for this. Okay, cool. Yeah, here you go. There it is. I need a report for this. Here's the old report I used to use, but I need the new one now in this version. Yeah, cool. Here it is. It uses Crystal Reports, or it uses this, or whatever, PBI. Yeah, which version you want? Yeah, I'll have it in PBI. Cool. Here's the script. Just upload it, right? That's the stuff it does for the business. The business don't have to know, what does that mean? BTP. What?
Yeah.
What's a Fury app? Huh?
Mm.
I don't know. How do I do that? Cool. Just go and ask. Yeah, just ask the Fury expert. How do I create a Fury tile on for purchasing? Yeah, sure. Here's about 5 different ones we already have as standard out of the box. Choose one. Cool, right? And that's the stuff it does. It's a realization, what's in here, what's in this new bag of tricks. 2, it's how do I get there? This is where I'm currently. How do I do the new? How do I do new processes, new things? 3, the other thing is, if there are workarounds, you can then say, I got this workaround. It's rubbish. How do I get around it in your new system? Well, yeah, we do this now. And I've done a few workarounds. I've given it to 2508 HANA, and it says, we don't do that anymore. We do materials management differently. We got this new system. This is how we do it. And this is what it looks like. And it's like, here's a screenshot. That's what that expert does.
Yeah, I think there's so much value in sort of the AI experts and the product that you have been building. I think anybody watching should definitely reach out, even if it's for an initial conversation or to understand how it could affect their business. But I know you're also running sort of the ERP Bootcamp, and I know you've worked with teams that have done the bootcamp and teams that who haven't. What's the difference do you see once sort of a build begins from people that have done the bootcamp and maybe those teams that haven't?
Yeah, when I've started on projects, I've gone in and I've tried to speak to, I've tried to set up meetings and have done successfully with business people and educated them in that and given them that quick boot camp. And it's confidence, because now when they see you in the room of the tech people, because I'm normally with the tech people, right? When they see you, they got a friendly face. They know you. You got a relationship. So they're not too scared to come up and say, hey, Bret, how's it going? Yeah, that thing you showed me, yeah, it's working. Love it. Doing really good, and then all of a sudden now these tech people who they kind of try and distance themselves from are now their friends as well. Cool. And I'm always playing them up. I'm always saying, bigging them up. I'm saying, yeah, this is the FI person in charge of the AP stuff. Yep. Really, really good. Knocking it out of the park. Got some AI expert stuff going on there, asking the right questions, getting all their stuff together, and the funk spec guys probably there, funk consultants like, yeah, it's all good. We're progressing really quickly. And that's the difference is that camaraderie, and it's not this divide of IT, SI, and business. And, I'm usually in between trying to, as a test manager or the data migration person, because I'm like, you tech people are talking rubbish. Does the business need this? And what you're doing, stop it. So, I'm there to play referee, and that's a punch below the belt. And at the same time, I'm there to build the business up and say, no, come on, you're better than this, right? No one knows this better than you. I'm counting on you. I need you, and then that's where the AI expert comes in to say, look, I'm not around all the time, not available to you 24/7. Ask the AI expert. It goes on your phone. Download it to an app, right? On your phone. So if you're home and you're on a BYOD, you bring your own device type thing with your employer, just ask it the question, right? And I tend to try and shy away from PII data. And that's the other thing the expert can do. I need a test script for this. Oh, cool. You're going to, and ask you, so you're going to need data as well. Yeah, cool. Can you do me GDPR? I'm not going to use real data. Can you fabricate me 50 clients? Yeah, sure. You have CSV? Yeah. And it knows the fields. Just upload that and you'll be good to go.
I know you've had quite a lot of these conversations. You spoke to so many different businesses about this topic. I mean, talking about results, after running your ERP bootcamp, what should leaders expect to see in the first 30 days of the actual project?
They're going to see a lot more confident business leaders. The SMEs are going to be more confident. And I think as well, because I like to do the whole department, I don't like just to bring the SMEs. I like to get maybe their seconds or thirds as well in there, in command, so I can make sure I'm instilling that ethos and that drive and that passion into all of them. And they're going to notice a big change because now the business are confident. I'll breathe a sigh of relief. I thought this was doomsday coming, I thought this is end of days. It's, it's not. It will be hard. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It will be hard. But I think the more prepared you are and the more you rely on your AI expert, the less hard it's going to be, because now you can take the meeting minutes and feed it into your AI expert and say, what the hell do I got to do out of this? And I say, oh, right. Yeah, you've been given these tasks. Here's how I do it. I've outlined them and I've done that. And I got it by priority, and here's what you need to do. Cool, let's work on it. And that then obviously gives them confidence, because now it's like, well, technical words. Yeah, I just asked my AI expert and it gives me a definition, tells me why I'm using it and why I might not need to use it and all this other funky stuff. And it makes them confident to go into tech meetings or meetings with the data team. Now they understand, oh, okay, that's why you're asking me for the profiles for business partners. Yes, because it helps in the billing and it helps, everything's coded and, I need that information. But I think, that's the main thing. It builds the confidence really, really quickly. And I think the business do want the best for their business, right?
Yeah.
And, I try and get it for them, and I try and get them to try and avoid any workarounds. When if a solution person comes with you with a workaround saying, no, whoa, hang on a minute, let me tuck that into my expert. No, we can do it this way. And here's the plan. And here's the steps. It's much quicker, much easier. And plus, what I really like about it, what I've just trialed this last week, is I said, I'm going to give you everything I'm working on. It's Friday night. I want to go home. I want you to prioritize it, organize it, get any information you find in the team that help feed into that, and then give me a clear-cut schedule for Monday morning bright and early that I can work through as tasks. And it will. It does it. Says, yeah, here you go. Do you want me to send this to your email, or do you want me to mobile text it to? What do you want? Right. So now with ChatGPT, you can have little agents in there that will do NAN or Google Mail or Outlook, or they do little tasks and send you little alerts and notifications and say, hey, this is done. I got this schedule for you, and then you can look at it on Sunday night and say, oh, okay, cool. I'm organized. Again, confidence.
Yeah, I think there's so much value that not just the confidence aspect, even though that's a massive thing. I think the education aspect of people learning around different topics, they can ask this specialized AI chatbot on how to develop their skill set, and the organization as well. I mean, it links to the confidence, but if you're sat there on a Sunday night trying to plan your week ahead, and you can help this software, this AI bot can help you organize that. It's not just going to give you the confidence, but also the organization of what you've got planned and how to execute on those different topics better. So I think there's so much value, and thank you for coming on.
We'll upload the project plan. What are the tasks? Here you go. Here's the whole project plan. Oh, cool. Well, don't worry about this one because that's 3 weeks away. Just worry about this. These are next week or this week, right? Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I'm passionate about this, and I think everyone should have an AI expert, and I don't care who you are. I think if the more expert you're using, the more your brain's freed up for more positive thinking or more logical thinking of things that the AI might not necessarily pick up on, body language, things like that. You're kind of more in tune to that, whereas you just give the AI expert the technical stuff. It's like, why do I need to get certified in 2508 when it's going to be 2602 soon, or 2608? What's the point of that, right? And it's changing so fast, and versions are changing. We're moving to a different platform next week. Oh, well, we just had this one 2 years ago. Now you want a new one? Yeah, this is Oracle, or this is Odoo, or whatever. It's like, oh, Jesus, now I've got to learn something new. I'm in my late 40s, early 50s. I'm close to retirement. Well, I don't know. It depends on what country you're in. I'm in my late 60s. I'm close to retirement.
Of course. One thing that I was going to mention, I know you mentioned everything's sort of changing so quickly in these new systems and new methodologies, and that you're trying to keep up to date with everything going on. But my main big final question is, if you could redesign how every ERP program in the world begins, one thing would you change to guarantee better outcomes, and why?
Educating the business and using AI to help them be educated. And the reason is because without the business, you really are destined to fail. And that includes and it does encompass the data because they're going to need to understand, not necessarily use AI for the data as per se. When you say AI, it's a program at the end of the day, but yeah, and that's it, right? The business education, the business using AI to their benefit and helping get that data sorted, because by the time you get to the end, if your data is just going to get worse and worse and worse and worse, and by the time you get there, it's like, you need another 6 months just to get your data ready. So, yeah.
That's a great message to the community, Brett. And like anybody following the ERP perspective or watching this episode, please do reach out to Bret Robinson regarding his ERP bootcamp and
Yeah.
also his AI experts. But is there anything else that you'd like to end this episode with, Brett?
Yeah, just go follow me on LinkedIn and then go to my Spotify. It's called The AI Expert. The AI Expert. It's a channel on Spotify. I'm not on the other channels yet. I'm trying to get a YouTube channel done. I've got it reserved, The AI Expert. I'll start putting videos up there on how to create these experts in really tiny bite-sized chunks, so you can say how it all fits together and how it works. It's not rocket science, but you got to do it right. I wouldn't try and go race to the bottom on the pricing and the cheapness. Implementations, everything has to be right. But once it's there, everything will be fine. You're not going to get hallucinations and things because the window's like this. It's not 100 million thousand feet. It's literally right beside you. So, yeah, follow me on Spotify, LinkedIn, and please DM me, reach out to me and just say, hey, I'm new to AI. I'm not going to try and sell you anything. I'm just going to try and help you the best I can, give you the best advice, and then it's up to you what you want to do.
Yeah,
That's it.
fantastic. Well, this has been Bret Robinson on the ERP perspective. Feel free to follow, like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.